Okay, in part one of the wheel problem, I got you through most of this picture of the wheel cover. We've got the spokes and the outer wheel areas and these center lines in the middle. I'm going to show you how to use the array command again to complete this problem, and we're going to, if you look a little bit close up, we have some circles with some pentagons in the middle of them, and they represent obviously a hex bolt. And of course, I want you to take a look at the pentagon. Notice how they, when they rotate, they've got different, the pentagons are rotated as well. I'm going to show you how to do that, and of course, finish this up. The last thing you'll need to do is to resize or scale this so it'll fit in your template, and then center it in your template. Okay, so let's get started. First thing we need to do is, if you notice, each one of these are, there's 4 of them in a circular pattern. So if you divide 4 into 360, you get 90 degrees. So they're separated at 90 degrees from each other. But if you also notice, they're rotated in a square fashion. So it's obvious that you can tell from the picture that they are located at 45-degree angles away from each other. So I'm going to draw 45-degree lines up from this center point of this circle, and I'm going to get the intersection on this interior center line, and that'll give me my center point to create one of these bolts. And I'm going to start with this one over here in about the 10 o'clock position, and so let's get started. I'm going to make a line. Again, I'm going to snap it to the center point here, and I'm going to make sure that my angle, if you look on my screen, it's got a polar, the polar dialog box appears, and it's got an angle of 135. And of course, 90 plus 45 is 135, so that's what I want. I'm going to come up here and use my intersection O-snap. I'm just going to draw that line and snap it to that point. And now at this intersection, that's where I'll put my circle. Let's go back real quick. Each one of these are, there's 4 circles or 4 bolts. They have a diameter of 1 inch. Oh, yes, a diameter of 1 inch. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to create a circle. I'm going to snap it to this point right here. And I'm going to give it a diameter of 1. All right, so I don't need that line anymore. I'm done. Now I'm going to create my, I'm going to use this polygon tool over here on the right, and I'm going to, in my command line, it asks me the number of sides. It's, the default is 4. I'm going to type in 6 and press enter. And now it asks me to specify a center of the polygon. I'm going to come back and I'm going to snap it to the center of that circle. And now my next command line says enter an option, inscribed or circumscribed, and we want to choose the inscribed feature, so I'm going to just type in I and press enter. And now lastly, I can just simply set this up and specify the radius of the circle. Radius is going to be 0.25. So that's half of that. So there I go. When you're done, you should have a pentagon that looks something similar to that. Okay, now an easy way to do this, I'm going to use the array command, and I'm going to create a polar array. It defaults to rectangular. I'm going to create a polar array. So I snap here under polar array. I'm going to come over to select objects. I'm going to click on that button first, and I'm going to click the circle and my pentagon. I'm going to right mouse click. When I'm done, I'm going to select my center point. My center point, again, is going to be the center of the entire circle. So I come down right here. I'm going to click that center button. And now the total number of items to fill, I've got 4 of them. 360 is my angle. I'm going to preview it. And yours should look something similar to what I have on my screen. And notice how it turned the pentagons clockwise as well. That's what you want. Click accept. Okay. Now, if you notice, you're done. At this point, you're done. Except you got to resize or scale down your drawing and fit it into your title block. So I'm going to come back, and I just know from experience you're going to have to use at least quarter scale. Half scale is still not large enough. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to click the scale button, and I'm going to window this entire piece. Right mouse click. I'm going to select the middle of my object, and I'm just going to type in 0.25 for my scale factor. Now if you look, you should have, now it's going to fit nice and neat on my title block. Now it's real easy to center this. I'm just going to create a line. I'm going to go from one diagonal to the next, and now I'm going to select the move tool, and I'm going to window over my wheel, right mouse click, and I'm going to select the center. It's real easy to center this. Just click the center of your wheel. Since it's circular shape, all we have to do is place the center point of this circle or wheel shape on top of the midpoint. I gotta have my midpoint on. There's the midpoint line. Now when you're done, yours should look something similar to what I have on my screen. Just make sure your description is going to read wheel cover. Put your name, date. Scale is going to be 1/4 = 1. That's all. The last thing I'll tell you is, hopefully in problem 60 is your next assignment, and you can use the array command and some of the concepts you used to create this to create your own wheel covers in problem 60. Good luck.